I talk about abrupt there. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about the awkward transitions and everything. So, just to pull back the curtain a little bit, I got super nervous that tonight's stream was not gonna go like as planned because I was testing out my software again and something was not working. But it appears to be working okay now, so hopefully we can continue along. So, good evening. Hope you've all had a great day. Welcome back. I got a new pair of glasses today, so I'm pretty excited about that. This is the first time I've sprung for like the special lenses with like the astigmatism thing or like the blue light thing. So I'm pretty excited about these glasses. But what I'm more excited for is tonight's stream. So if you follow me on LinkedIn or Instagram or any of these other social media sites, you will know that I love my iPad. And I actually do pretty much all my work on my iPad right now. So as far as the stream goes, oh, and by the way, always got to feel like I got to throw this at the beginning of the chat. Wherever, I don't know where on YouTube the chat thing is, but wherever the chat thing is, maybe it's over here, maybe it's down here. Feel free to drop any questions. I am monitoring it on my own screen down here, and I will be glad to answer those questions. But anyway, so as I was saying, I use an iPad pretty much as my own personal laptop now. And I do pretty much everything on it. I like to watch movies just as you can, or YouTube videos, or just like browsing the web. But I also do more advanced things. So a couple years ago, I've mentioned this before, and I might even go ahead and show it off here. I use an app called Affinity Designer for graphic design. And I use now a couple different apps for like coding specifically, and we're going to talk about those in how they're specifically related to data science. So I've actually been an iPad owner since the very first iPad. Like whenever they announced it back in 2010, I got that very first one. I've always loved the iPad. And I remember distinctly, I don't remember if I talked to him or just showed him off at the time, but I had a business professor in college, Professor Gowan, if you're out there watching this, hope you're doing well. He mentioned to me one time about the iPad, and he was absolutely spot on about this, and I've never forgotten this. The iPad is a great tool for consumption, not a great tool for production. And he has been right about that. And, but I would say, as time has progressed, Apple has slowly started to make this thing into a full production device. So let me go ahead and show it to you. So this is my iPad here. This is the 12.9-inch iPad Pro. I've owned pretty much every size of the iPad at one point in time. I've owned like the regular size iPad. The last iPad I had before this was the 11-inch iPad Pro. I've owned an iPad Mini at one point, and they were all great models for one reason or another. I personally opted for this 12.9-inch iPad because I knew this was going to be my laptop replacement, more or less, and so I wanted the biggest screen possible, and and it actually worked out pretty well because this year, this particular iPad got a refresh with the mini LED display, so it doesn't look great on the stream here, but in person this display is amazing, as well as the new M1 processor that is found in pretty much all the new MacBooks. Although I'm a little bit disappointed about that, and I'll explain why here in a little bit. Additionally, I use my iPad here. Let me unplug this for you. I use the Magic Keyboard that the Apple sells for my work. So it just magnetically snaps in place like that. I can't do it whenever you all are looking. Okay, there we go. And then voila, you got this. And I actually do also have an Apple Pencil that I use for graphic design, but my wife recently bought an iPad herself and has been teaching herself different things using the iPad pencils or the Apple Pencil, so she's been using that. Okay, so that is my iPad. As much... Here's the one problem, though. I love my iPad, and the most disappointing thing to me about the iPad today is, they put this nice M1 processor in it, which is the same processor that they're putting in some of their newer MacBooks. This is a newer Apple Silicon chip, and they're just not using it to its fullest potential. So most people will complain about, the fact that there's not Final Cut Pro or Logic Pro on these iPads, which is also saying to me, I just don't get why they don't open up the whole coding interface. So you may have seen some earlier blog posts where I had talked about like how I was using Raspberry Pi to augment that. So basically here, actually my Raspberry Pi is over here. So this is my Raspberry Pi. I wrote several blog posts showing how you could basically use this as what I called a computational accessory for the iPad. And what I mean by that is, because the iPad can't do things like install your command line tools or anything like that, I'd figured out a way. Well, let me rephrase. I found a way online to use a hardline connection into the iPad, and basically use this as like an accessory for doing like those special computational things that the iPad can't do by itself. And so that worked great for a while, but then I kept running into issues that wouldn't stop most people, but it kept stopping me. So one of the big issues was that the Raspberry Pi uses an ARM-based architecture as opposed to x86, which most other technologies use. And the reason that's a big deal is because I kept having issues with like building Docker images. I couldn't build Docker images. I couldn't do a number of different things. Also, obviously, the Raspberry Pi is a much, much more limited processor. And then also, whenever you do that hardline connection into the iPad, it is a huge battery drain on the iPad. So that's why I stopped using this as the computational accessory. So instead, what I did is, right before I mentioned a couple times in the streams that this is a newer Mac Mini. So this is the same M1. I know you can't see it on the camera right now, but it's over here. It is the newer M1 Mac Mini. And right before that, I did have a MacBook Pro, late 2018 model, and it was fine. It was totally fine as a laptop, except I was never using it. And part of the reason, a couple reasons I was never using it is because I'm obviously in favor of the iPad. So back to that, with the iPad, the reason I like it so much more better than the MacBook Pro is that I don't want to have to carry two devices around. And let's be frank, this is still the better device for consumption. If I want to watch YouTube videos, if I want to watch movies, I want to do it on my iPad. I don't want to do it on my MacBook. So I wasn't using my MacBook for anything. But at the same time, the problem I was having is I wanted to keep an always-on computer at home that for my iPad, I could always SSH into Secure Shelf, in case you're not familiar with that lingo, and do all my data science work. And that was a much better use case for my Mac Mini than it was for the MacBook Pro. And because the Mac Mini is such a cheaper product compared to like the MacBook Pros, when I sold my MacBook Pro, I pretty much, it was almost an even trade for a brand new Mac Mini because the Mac Minis are so much cheaper. So I do use Mac Mini at home, and that's how I do these streams. But when it comes to just daily, like coding, daily computational stuff, I actually don't really use my Mac Mini for that. Well, at least not directly. I'm not sitting here at my desk. I would prefer to be. So actually, in case you've ever wondered, this is a recliner right behind me, because I don't know if here. Let me go ahead and show you this. Like, this is what I call my dad cave. And so when I'm not working over here, I'm playing back there. And so you can see I've got like a PlayStation 5, a TV, and that's a hue sync gradient bar. So these things are really cool, by the way. What it does is it syncs to your TV, and then it will change the color of that light behind the TV to whatever is on the screen of the TV. So if you're watching a movie that's like in a forest, like then you'll see like this huge green aura around. And I like to call it kind of like, you got surround sound. I like to call it surround lighting. So it's very cool. But anyway, I'd rather be doing my coding in that recliner. I'd rather be, or when I'm helping out my girls with something, I'd rather be taking my iPad upstairs. Or if I'm doing something in the kitchen, I'd rather have my iPad. And so that's where I do most of my coding. And I've never, to date, been able to figure out how to get this working. But the good news is I have figured it out. So let me go ahead. You probably don't want to hear me babble on anymore. You probably want to see the good stuff. All right, so this is my iPad screen. So just to show you, this is the same thing in real time. Boom, boom. So look, it moves around just fine. So you can see the same thing that I'm going to be doing on the iPad. So my iPad is over here, so I'm going to be, if you're wondering why I'm leaning over this way, ooh, keep dropping this. It's because I'm working directly off the iPad here. So this is my home screen, of course, with all my apps set up, a mix of personal and pleasure. So obviously I got like YouTube and Twitter on here, and then I got LinkedIn. I do want to show Affinity Designer really quick, just because, I do love this app. This app is amazing. So I think I mentioned before, I hope that's not good. I hope that was just that app. Okay. All right. Already having some weird technical difficulties. All right. So just to let you know, I'm not going to be able to show that app. But just to let you know, this software that I'm using is called Reflector 4. And it basically emulates, I don't know if y'all know what AirPlay is, but like if you're at home and you want to have something play from your iPhone or your Apple or your iPad, and then you want to mirror it onto like an Apple TV to display up on your TV, that's AirPlay. And so it's basically emulating AirPlay on the Mac here. And as you just saw there, it tries to detect what kind of iPad this is to actually give it the appropriate frame, or you can just give it whatever frame you want. It doesn't really matter. So like I could pick an iPad mini frame if I wanted, but what you saw there is, it's not perfect software because it for some reason it recognizes it as an iPad Pro but doesn't default back to it. Okay, so I can't show Affinity Designer and I don't know why. Okay, but that's okay because you didn't come here for graphic design anyway. Okay, so the couple of apps that I do want to show off. Let's start off with, I've mentioned before, we do a lot of work in Jupyter Notebooks, especially in these streams. I use one app in particular, but it actually comes in two different flavors, and I'm going to show, and it's called Juno. And so it's this right down here in the center, like with this orange circle. This is Juno Connect. So Juno actually comes in two different flavors. So let me go ahead and just show you standard Juno. So these are the two apps, so Juno and standard Juno. So they're both really great for their own reasons. So let me just find something to pull up here. So okay, we've done the Titanic stream before. So this is a great app because what the difference between these two apps is that Juno will try to run everything natively on the iPad using the iPad's processor, and I love that. Except it's got some major limitations. So specifically, let me go ahead and just open one of these things up. We'll just open up the data exploration. I do really love the UI, though. The UI is fantastic. And actually, you'll see Juno and Juno Connect are basically the same app when it comes to, when it comes to, oh my gosh, I can't use my brain right now. Whenever it comes to the user interface, like whenever I open up Juno Connect, you'll see it's basically the same. And I don't know why that one's not loading. So let me see if I can find one that does load. I hope this works good. I've been kind of nervous that, this is the very first time I've used this Reflector 4, and then even more so trying to use it on, oh my gosh, did you see that? It just crashed. Why did it crash? I'm going to be upset if I can't demo this to you. Okay, so I do have an alternative way of trying to show you the iPad, and I think I might have to do that instead at some point. So let's see. But it involves me going and knocking on one of my friend's doors and asking for a special dongle. So what that actually is I bought myself a Switch capture card, so that way I could stream Nintendo Switch games to Twitch here. And so I could use this, but I don't have a USB-C to HDMI dongle. So if anybody has that and wants to let me borrow it to make sure this stream actually works, then that'd be great. Okay, so the iPad's working again now, and for some reason, I don't know, Juno Connect was just being odd. All right, so let me see if I can find, why am I trying to, I could just create my own notebook. We'll just create a new notebook. Okay, so this is the notebook interface. It probably, it looks a little bit different to you, and I was wanting to show one that's already more like complete, but you can do the things like import pandas as PD, and then, and you can do things like install other libraries. And so this is all really great. Now, here's the downside with Juno. By default, you can see here, it is always wants to default the working directory to this really weird spot in the iPad. And so let me be clear. I'm not picking on the developers of Juno here. I am sure their limitations here are Apple imposed. So that's why Apple's probably making them do this. But you can change the working directory to be like where you actually want it. So I'm going to change the working directory to here. And then do I have any data? Or let me just do an ls here. I forgot I can't do shell commands in here. All right, so let's do df equals panda pd.read csv and hope to goodness that I know where this data is at. And it's already not autofilling because it usually autofills when it knows it is. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to show standard Juno, but that's okay. I don't really use standard Juno. But I mean, so the one upside to standard Juno is that it does not depend. It is running directly on the iPad, which means I could go out into the middle of nowhere and do my work. Now, granted, I do have to have the data on already preloaded onto my iPad. So instead, I use a different app called Juno Connect. So you can actually see Juno Connect here on my home screen as opposed to Juno. And Juno Connect is basically the same thing, except instead of running natively on the iPad, it uses a different source elsewhere. And so back to my Mac Mini. That's what we're using our Mac Mini here for. All right. So can you all see this now? Okay, so basically you can see off on here that you can actually connect to all these different sources for your Jupyter Notebook interface. So like if you wanted, they recently just added SageMaker, so I've not even tried that, but that's interesting. But the more interesting one to me is that you can add your own server. So this is actually referencing my local IP address. If you try to go to this IP address, it won't work for you because it's on my local Wi-Fi network. And plus, it's all password protected anyway. But when I click on this, so you can see that I'm connected. So just to prove to you, okay, because it defaults to this repos directory that I have on my local Mac. So let me just show off to the side here because this thing is being difficult. So if I just go to repos, then do an ls, this is the same thing that we're looking at here. So you can see all these different repos. And so if I wanted to go and look at so the other day we were doing the movie ratings model, I can go into here. So this is all running on my MacBook, or not MacBook, I'm sorry, my Mac Mini. And therefore I don't run into all the same limitations and goofiness with just like standard Juno. And so the last notebook we were working at was the data gathering one here. And so you can see it's got just like a really nice interface here. And I can just scroll through. And, you can type stuff out. You can run all these cells just like you would any other Jupyter Notebook interface. And I actually kind of like this better just because, it will kind of, preview tab completion stuff. And so let me go ahead, restart and run all. So I love this app. I think this is a fantastic app. Easily one of the best ones on my iPad and definitely one of the best ones for data science. So, because, as long as you have the SSH keys and stuff, you could really just... do your work from anywhere, as long as you have a stable internet connection. And so speaking of that, I am actually able to tether to my iPhone, and as long as I have a cell phone connection out in a forest or something, and I'm just tethering off to my iPhone, I could still do my work because it'll just connect to my Mac Mini, which is here in my house. So again, this is another reason why I didn't got rid of my MacBook, because my MacBook didn't want to stay on all the time like a server, kind of like my Mac Mini is. And that's fine because I actually saved a ton of money, and I don't need... If my iPad works just fine in this capacity, then what do I need a MacBook? I'm not saying I'll never get another laptop again. In fact, I probably will. Okay, so this is probably going to take a little bit to run because some of these cells take a little bit. But yeah, you can see it's doing all the proper syntax highlighting. It supports Markdown. It also has here, I hope it finished. Okay, so that's what I want to show. So if I do well, let me wait for all these cells to run. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to show you. So we're looking at light mode right now, which is because it's matching the theme of my iPad. And we've not hit sunset yet, but I'll go ahead and trigger that now. And so now I got dark mode on my iPad, and now dark mode for Juno. And this looks slick in my opinion. I think this looks really sharp. And so I really like this interface. And you can, so if we scroll back up to the top too, so you can see I actually did do a dataframe.head on this here. And so you can see it gives a nice, really nice little preview. It'll do all the matplotlib or Seaborn kind of things. And so I really love this app. This is one of my favorite apps in general. Believe it or not, this will actually run on an iPhone too. Obviously, it's a lot smaller of a screen, and I would never recommend anybody code off an iPhone, but you can if you, yeah. So, has it finished completing yet? So, yeah, it's taking a little bit because this is actually a data pipeline drawing from several APIs. So I wonder where it's stuck at. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, it's stuck on this one. I knew it would be IMDb for some reason, and I think it's because this isn't a real API here. But yeah, it's taking a little bit. It usually takes 5 minutes for this whole pipeline to run. So stay tuned. Also, by the way, so I'm taking a break from this movie thing right now and the Titanic right now just to cover the iPad tools. But we'll come back to these projects for sure. Oh, that is one thing I did want to mention really quick. So I mentioned we did a whole live stream last time on web scraping to support my model, and then I posted that first blog post out to Tor Data Science, like with just like the general data gathering that we're doing here. And toward the end of that article, I said, "Hey, I'm going to be writing another one on web scraping. Stay tuned." And the Tor Data Science guy, he was super nice about it. Of course, he reached out to me and said, "Hey, we got to be super careful at Tor Data Science with what sort of things that we publish toward our publication. And web scraping is a very gray area, especially with Rotten Tomatoes, so you can't post that." And so, I'm not mad at them, of course. They're great folks over there. But yeah, so even though we did that whole live stream on web scraping last time, and I told you I'm going to be writing a blog post on it, no longer. In fact, I'm not even going to use that feature. And the feature, if you might remember, was the Rotten Tomatoes audience score. I actually did apply for the full developer access to Rotten Tomatoes, and I've not heard back yet at all. I imagine they're just going to ignore me because they probably don't care what I want. Well, let me rephrase that. They don't care that I'm creating a predictive model for some no-name nothing. And I mean that super nicely, Bubble Boys. Okay, so it's still running. I was hoping it done because it would finish up because I wanted to show the tab completion because the tab completion is really cool. I wonder if I have any other notebooks running right now. Nope, that's just the only one right now. But like I said, so this is a super, super nice interface for Jupyter Notebook specifically. And I'm going to give it... Oh, did it just all clear itself out? Okay, I gave up on that. All right, so that is Juno Connect. I love Juno Connect. Next app I want to show is called Blink. So Blink is basically a command line for your iPad. And the reason I like Blink is because just like with Juno Connect, I can SSH into my iPad or my Mac and do everything that I can do just from the command line over here. So the way to do that, so I'm not, whenever you actually want to set up the app, you can do this config thing. And for some reason it's not showing up on here, but it is showing up on my iPad. I don't know, there's some weird AirPlay synchronicities that I'm learning along the way. But anyway, so you can't see it. Well, actually, let me just show you kind of on the screen. You can actually set up like a thing, like an alias that instead of typing in your IP address and everything at the same time, you could just say SSH into my Mac Mini or SSH Mac Mini, and then it will go. So let me just show you that here. All right, so SSH Mac Mini. Oh, for some reason it's showing as like two different things. Huh. Okay, let me try closing out this app and let's try this again. Okay, so, all right, I'm not even going to try changing the border this time because that's taking too much time, but, or maybe I'll just disable the border. Can I disable the border? I think it's a cool feature, but, if it's going to do this baloney where I have to change it every time, then no thanks. Okay, so we'll just stick with no frame iPad. How about that? So that I don't have to keep messing with that. Okay, so let's try going into Blink again. And yeah, so dang it, I can't show it. Okay, Blink is being weird. I'm not gonna be able to show Blink, but basically when I SSH into the iPad, or actually let me just show you, see if I can show you over directly on the screen real quick. All right, so ls repos ls. Okay, so let me change it back to just me. Where am I at? Okay, so this is Juno Connect as it is running on the iPad. So I don't know if you can tell, I just did an SSH into my Mac Mini, and I'm able to run all the exact same Linux commands that I'm able to on my Mac directly on my iPad. So very cool, because that's how I do pretty much all my work these days with like when it comes to like coding. So again, this is turning out to be a little bit of a bummer, just in the sense that like things keeps not working out how I would hope. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen again. All right, so let's move this out of the way again. Okay, so that is Blink, and maybe we'll be able to show you a similar sort of functionality with Textastic. So Textastic is the #1 bestseller iPad as far as development tools, and honestly, so actually my personal favorite is Juno Connect, but Juno Connect's not a code editor. Juno Connect's just for the Jupyter notebooks, so it's not really a fair comparison. But when it comes to code editors, Textastic is fantastic. So let me go ahead and open up Textastic here. So we are in dark mode still. Let me go ahead and show you some of the features here. Oh, I forgot about working copy. I got to show working copy too. All right, so what Textastic is basically a code editor on your iPad. And maybe I actually do want to turn on this border because I really want to show or make it very clear that, we are doing stuff on an iPad and not on my MacBook. Because I know, from afar, you can actually, this might actually look like something else. Let me go ahead and clear this out. Okay, so back to my iPad here. And actually, let me turn back on light mode since, dark mode's a little bit dark. Okay, dark mode's a little bit dark. Wow. Okay, so you can actually... So, I didn't really show this, but, so the one nice thing that Apple added like 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a little bit longer, was this Centralized Files app. And it's not perfect, but, the one nice thing about it is you can have, like, all your same files go to, like, your, like, these iCloud folders. So, like, you'll see that, like, these are all pretty much the same repos that are on my Mac Mini. And so I'm able to reference them directly from Textastic as such. So let me find Textastic. Oh, by the way, I am running iPad OS 15, in case you all are curious. Yeah, actually, I do want to bring up something with iPad OS 15 here, is I really love the new interface for doing side-by-sides, and I do side-by-sides all the time. So if you have iPad OS 15 installed on your iPad, in order to use the new multitasking feature, you probably see the 3 dots up in the middle there. So we'll go ahead and tap on those dots, and I want to do like a side-by-side left. So you can see that the app slid out of the way, and if I want to, because what I usually do is I'll usually have my Jupyter Notebook on the right, and then like Safari on the left to do some Googling for whatever, like some sort of anything. So you can see, actually I prefer it backwards, so let me redo that. And you can also do it this way that I'm doing as well. So how come this isn't working? Okay, so let me go ahead and drag Juno Connect up onto here. And so that also works. They just refined the user interface a little bit because I don't think people were really wild about the old user interface. Okay, so you can see that off on the right, I have my Jupyter Notebook, and then off on the left, I have the Verge here. But if, I'm not looking at the Verge per se, but I'll be looking at how to do a pandas cut. I don't know why pandas cut came to me the first time, but so that's why I like this, do this side by side. And so you could do the side by side with Textastic as well. So I'll grab Textastic, drop it up here, minimize that, and then do a side by side cut and coding. So so this is also why I chose the 12.9-inch iPad over the 11-inch. I think you can get by with if you want to do some coding setting like this, you could definitely get by with any iPad, except I would say probably not the iPad Mini. The iPad Mini might just be a little too small for that. Although I will say the new iPad Minis look pretty cool. And the other thing with the new iPad Minis is there is no offering for like a keyboard that attaches to the iPad. You can still use a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse if you take one with you. That's not ideal. And that, by the way, so I am using Apple's official Magic Keyboard. Don't go look at the price because it's just embarrassingly expensive. There are third-party ones that you could find. But anyway, so so this is side by side. And if if I'm good and I only want to use Textastic, then I can just do the slide over and then I'm back in just Textastic. Okay, but so some cool features about Textastic. So obviously some support from your iCloud Drive as far as these folders go. So again, you can see our movie ratings model here. This is the same thing that I was doing. And I was actually editing this yesterday while I was cooking, or not cooking dinner. My wife actually cooked dinner, and she had me put in the oven. So if I wanted to, for example, to work on my data dictionary here, which speaking of that, I have to go back and look because I didn't get everything completed yet. So this is what I was doing side by side though, is I can, okay, I don't have everything up, but I can at least show this. So I want to do this. I know we're going to have this RT critic score. So it's going to be what RT critic score, and then the pipe, and then what is the description of this? Critic score, or critic consensus score from Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, so pipe, then what kind of data field is this? I think this is, no, it actually is a string value because it has the weird percentage sign on there. So string value, the source that we're getting it from is from OMDB, DB. I always screw up that. And then, what is this? Oh, this is going to be used in the model, so I want a green check mark. Where's my green check? Green, not green, green check. So this is exactly how I use my iPad to support my coding work. You are seeing it live in real time. I got usually two windows open like this, doing a side by side coding, and then yeah, I don't know why I'm getting a red highlight there. So the nice thing, but Textastic is so feature rich. Like, so, one of the features we're going to talk about is support from these external folders from your iCloud drive. But also, so I'm editing a markdown file here. And if I go into the sunglasses here, we can do a preview. So this isn't a perfect preview, but a preview of the markdown. And what am I missing in here? Did I? Okay. So you can see I screwed up something. So this isn't a perfect preview, but this is still better than nothing. So you can get an idea of what your markdown looks like. So let me close that out and figure, what did I do? I don't know what I did, folks. Well, let me just put str there for now. Did that at least correct the syntax error for now? Okay, but it's not showing up as like a, what do you call it? Like a coding type. I don't know what you actually call those. Okay, so anyway, back to here. And then, you can also add, so one of the other cool things, so I've been working on Terraform, and we'll talk about Terraform in another live stream, but I just want to show one of these files. So this is a Terraform file, and you can see it has all the proper syntax highlighting in here. And by default, Textastic does not come with Terraform syntax highlighting, but that's one of the cool features about Textastic, is what it does support is the ability for you to import whatever coding syntax you want. So I actually loaded up Terraform myself. So I got Terraform working. I don't know why I'm using that. Okay, so let me come back into our movie ratings model. I don't think I've started a Docker file yet in there. So let me see. Did I start a Docker file in here? I don't see a Docker file in there. One of these has to have a Docker file. I just want to show the Docker syntax. That one does not have a Docker file. Okay, Dockerizing a fast API has to have a Docker file. Okay. Or maybe I forgot to install the syntax highlighting for this. Oh well. Okay, so I do need to edit that. So that's cool. So really nice syntax highlighting. So let me just show like a standard Python file. I'm pretty sure there's one in here. Where did I put it? Oh wait, no, it's not Dockerizing fast API. It's the fast API scans and tests. I know. Oh well, we can just look at this one. So you can see here, very nice syntax highlighting. I love this app. Okay, so syntax highlighting, it has the, what do you call it? What were we talking about? The connection to the iCloud drive, markdown previews, and then probably one of my favorite, well, two more favorite features. So one, I was mentioning earlier that I could not get, I like to use Blink if the only thing I need is the command line, but it actually does the same functionality as Blink, basically. So this little icon up in here, I don't know if you can see that. If I tap on that, then I can, you see all my SSH connections. So you can see I had originally was using my iPad or my Raspberry Pi, but am now using my Mac Mini. And then I also have one for my Mac Mini if I'm away from home, which is why I'm Mac Mini remote. So if I tap on that, then now we are connected to my Mac Mini. So, I'm sorry, my Mac Mini. All right, so if I do a repos, which is my alias to my repos, you can see all the same things that we were seeing before. So that's really cool. I'm SSH'd into my Mac Mini, and therefore I can do all my work on my Mac Mini. So that is, and so you might be wondering, well, how do I get the files down to the Mac Mini? And so that's my other really nice feature that I love about this app. So you can see down here, these little arrows here. So what these arrows are doing is saying, okay, off on the left here is your local Textastic. Okay, and I actually want to back out of here and I want to go into the movie ratings model. Okay, so let's say I wanted to move this README file over to here. Then I would tap on my Mac Mini here, and it's doing a connection. We got to delve down. I think it's users actually. Users, me. Where's my documents? Repositories. I gotta figure out a way if there's a way to like just nail it down to the repositories. But anyway, what is it called? The movie ratings model. And then you can see the README up there. So what I just do here, and so you'll notice off on the left here, because I have made some more updates as opposed to on my local machine, my local Mac Mini, I can upload this to the README. So And so let me go ahead and upload this. Do you want to overwrite the file? Yes, I do. And now on my local Mac Mini here, and just to prove this to you, I'm going to see if I can do this as if it's going to, well, no, I don't want to mess with this because I don't want to mess with the stream too much. But it's on there. It's on my local Mac Mini now. But the really cool thing is you know, after you do this once, and let me go ahead and make another update. Let me just go ahead and add. Why is it? Oh, that would be why. It's because I had that thing messed up. Okay. I had accidentally put an extra one. What do you call these little things? Little backwards dashes. I don't know. So, okay. So as of right now, my Mac Mini has this copy. So like let's say I wanted to add another data element, and then blah, blah, blah. I'm going to call this int, another pipe. By the way, I don't know if you've all done markdown tables, but this is the very first time I've done a markdown table, and it's actually not nearly as bad as I thought it'd be. Test, another pipe, and then I'm going to say this is not. This is going to be a red X. Red X. Okay, and then pipe. Okay, so instead of having to go back to this interface, since Textastic will remember, okay, when I uploaded this last, I uploaded it to this Mac Mini, this SSH connection, and I uploaded it to this very specific spot. So instead of having to go through this whole same user interface again, which is it's a fine user interface, now I can just go up to the three dots in the top right and just say upload this file, or you can also see that I also said there's an option for download the latest, and boom, it is now on. This is also on my Mac Mini. So actually, now I keep wanting to show you like it actually to prove it's on my Mac Mini to pull it up, but you know I'm so afraid of this stream cutting out or not working. So yeah, I really love this app. It makes testing of code really easy because you know that's the one downside about the iPad in general. Not anything against Textastic, is it really can't run this code. It can't run the code that I want it to, which is why I was using my Raspberry Pi. But my Raspberry Pi, as I was mentioning, had limitations, and therefore I'm using my Mac Mini, and I've loved the connection. Now, granted, I will say this is my one criticism of the iPad. My Mac Mini is running the M1 processor, the new Apple Silicon. My iPad is running the exact same M1 processor, the new Apple Silicon. Apple. Why can't I do these things directly on the iPad? Anyway, so yeah, this is Textastic basically. I don't know. There's probably more features that I'm missing, but I really do love this app. It's a great app. So at least one other app that I do want to show is well, actually, let me do a quick review to see if there's anything else that I really care to show. Obviously, so GitHub is just GitHub. Actually, the GitHub official app's not very good. You can't really do anything with it except for review documents or approve merge requests or whatever, but it's not really good for anything. I recently downloaded this app called Inspect, and what this is designed to do is basically emulate the developer tools for on a standard like Chrome. So you can actually see the reason I downloaded this is because I was trying to get some of the elements of the page to do that screen scraping for our project, except as I mentioned, we're no longer doing that. Okay, but the one other really cool app I like to show is an app called Working Copy. And so Working Copy is actually basically a Git client. It is our way that we interact with our GitHub. So you can actually, let me do a refresh here because it should pick up that there were changes made. Why is this not picking up? Let me try to close it out and come back in because I did make changes, right? Yeah, I don't know why it's not picking up those changes. Or I wonder where I uploaded it from. Anyway, so what this app is designed to do is that you can do all your Git pushes and everything directly from this app, or your Git pulls and your fetches and everything. So let me, I don't know why it's not picking up the changes for this. It's kind of bugging me. And it also, as you can see, we'll do a preview of some of these things. But if I wanted to do like a Git pull, then I could tap this little icon up here, fetch. If I wanted to look at the branch history of everything, I can. So this is showing all the different Git commits and the Git hashes here. So that's kind of nice. And I'm gonna try to see, like, let me go back into text. Well, let me try just let me add a dummy file. So I'm gonna create a new text file called dummy file.txt. All right, so this dummy file, so you can see that because this is a brand new file, that it is showing up as green. Now, if it was just an edited file, it would show up as orange. Actually, let me go ahead and edit one of these files. So, comment. I'm just going to say comment because that's all I need to do. All right, so coming back to here. So now you can see that, so what it should be doing, so this is a synced folder, and I don't know why this is not working, but it should have picked up those changes from Textastic to the README and like noted here in orange that something was changed. So I added a dummy file. Did I put any text in it? Let me just add my text. Hello, streaming community. Okay, so there you go. There we go. Oh, by the way, so that's the one thing I will mention is, you know, the iPad is, of course, a touch interface. I don't think I would ever recommend coding on an iPad without some sort of keyboard. I think you just drive yourself insane. So I actually really also appreciate that Apple recently added the cursor support too. So that's why I really like, you know, like I said, this Magic Keyboard just stupid expensive, but I really do like how like seamless it is. Okay, so off on the left here you see the new file, of course, and the changed file. So now I can go in here to commit, and I'm going to select either one or both, and it stopped sharing again. Why did it do that? All right, let me try getting this sharing again. Apologies, folks. I got really, so actually I learned about Reflector Forges yesterday, and like I got so excited that I was like, oh, I gotta get on here, and I didn't really even test it out that closely, and I am kind of starting to regret that, clearly. Okay, so let me change the frame again because I'm a stickler about that. Okay, so let me move this on over and get my little settings out of the way there. Okay, so I will type a commit message. So testing out working copy for my live stream. Okay, so you can see that not only do I can commit, but I can also do a direct push. So I'm going to go ahead and do a commit and push. All right, and so it should have just pushed all those things out there. And just to prove that is correct, let's go into Safari. So this is just the standard Safari interface. Go on over to GitHub. Go on over which repository to just update. The movie ratings model updated 12 seconds ago. So you can see very clearly on my GitHub the dummy text file in here. Say my text, hello streaming community. And why did I say that like Borat? Hello text. Yeah, my streaming community, I'm getting tired. It's been a long day, folks, but an exciting day. Like, I got my new glasses. If you are Super Smash Brothers fans out there, then you will say that Sora was announced as the final Smash character, which honestly, I'm not a Kingdom Hearts player, so I'm not super excited personally for that, but I am excited for the community because I know the community's been jiving for Sora for a really long time. Okay, so anyway, so you can see that whenever... this is the other file that we made an update to, and you can see that I just added the comment there. So yeah, working copy, that is it. And like I said, it should have worked where it just picked up the changes that I made in Textastic automatically, and I don't know why that didn't work. That's the very first time it never worked. This is actually a very reliable app, so apologies that didn't work. Okay, so back on GitHub, I think you could even see that whenever we did the git commit message here, like this is the same thing that you just saw. All right, so we covered. All right, what have we all covered? We covered the two Junos, Juno and Juno Connect. We kind of covered Blink. I know you unfortunately didn't get to see it because of some weird goofiness there, but Blink is basically. Well, let me come back into here. So like my CLI here, Blink is basically this, but nothing else. And you might be wondering, well, why do I use Blink and not just this? Is because Blink is actually a lot like this interface here is okay, but like sometimes it can be a little bit weird. It gets the job done for sure, but Blink is actually just faster to jump in if I really want to do something really quick. So we covered Textastic, we covered Blink, we covered Juno, we covered working copy. Is there anything else I want to cover? I think that's it for what I want to cover. The only other thing I'll mention is, some people have talked about liking what's that app? Maybe it's a good thing I don't ever remember the app's name because I'm not gonna speak. I'm not gonna speak nice of them. Oh, well, it's not that. I'm not gonna not speak. I'm not trying to speak ill of them, but it's this Python app that is designed to run Python files on the app natively. except I tried using it at one point, and I don't remember what the app's name is, so and that's fine, because I don't mean to throw these people under the bus, but anyway, it just didn't work. Like, and I think it's not due to their fault. I think it's, again, back to like the standard Juno interface where there was all that weird nonsense of different working directories. Oh, the other big Juno hiccup too is that you can install your own Python package if it is written only in Python. So I'm gonna pick on is it NLTK? That's not gonna work. One of these doesn't work at all, or actually many of these libraries don't work at all, and you, because of the limitations of the iPad. But I just found whatever that app that was touting that it could run Python files natively, it could, but like it was extremely limited. Like I couldn't run like a fast API interface or anything like that. So unfortunately, the iPad still is hampered by basically its own makers. Like maybe the original iPad definitely could not run the same thing that like a Mac Mini could, but now you literally have the same processor in both of these devices. Like Apple, why not? So I've still got my fingers crossed for the future. Like I've said, they added keyboard support a couple of years ago. They added file support. They had cursor support last year. They added the app library just this year, and then this new like the this little interface here. So if I want to select one app and then I don't know, select the Dark Sky app, which I love Dark Sky. Dark Sky is a really good weather app. My iPad or my network's been really weird lately, so that's why like I hope the stream's working okay, but you can see that like my weather and stuff is not uploading. But that's really it. So those combination of those couple apps, those are how I do all my work if I'm not doing work on my laptop, and or not my laptop. I keep saying laptop because I owned a laptop for so long. In fact, this is the very first desktop I've ever owned personally. I got my first laptop when I went away to college in 2008, and then I've had laptops ever since then. And then so yeah, this is the very first desktop I've owned ever since. But yeah, if I'm going to a hotel, if I'm going to the coffee shop, if I'm going to charge my Tesla, if I'm going to do any of that, I'm not obviously taking my Mac Mini nor my iPad or my MacBook. I'm taking the iPad because the iPad's so much nicer, compact, and it's just a really nice device. Okay, so that is that went faster than I thought it would, but I really don't have much more anything else to show tonight. So I've been monitoring the chat for questions. I've not seen anything, so I'm tired, and you know what? Let's go ahead and call it a night. So I hope you all enjoyed the stream. If you have any apps yourself that you really like to use, share those with me. I'd love to check them out. I love checking out new iPad apps, especially when they come to coding. I hope you really like some of those apps that I checked or suggested. So Juno Connect, Textastic. There was another one that I didn't share called Screens, and Screens is basically like a desktop client viewer thing. And the reason I didn't show you Screens is because I was really afraid it would mess with the stream here, and I'm surprised even this Reflector 4 even held up this long. But yeah, I really love my iPad. I would, like I said, I may go back to a laptop someday, but if I can get by with it, this guy all the way. Okay, folks, thank you so much for joining. Hope you all have a good evening. See you later.